Hi everyone! Well, today is compost pile turning day. A few weeks ago I showed you how to build a compost pile so that you can make compost faster, and then we did a video on how to maintain a hot compost pile by monitoring the temperature, the moisture, and then turning it to give it air. Well, we're going to check the temperature to see if it's cooled off, and if it has, we're going to give it some air and turn it so the microbes stay happy and keep breaking down the compost. Well, it's been about 2 weeks since I've built my compost pile in the Smart Pots compost sack. And the first thing I notice when I look at it here is that the compost pile has definitely shrunk a little bit. So if yours has shrunk too, don't be alarmed. All that means is that the microbes inside are breaking down the organic matter in the soil and making the compost into good black garden gold. So when we first built the sack, it was about 3 feet tall, which is right here, and now it's shrunk down to about 2 feet and 3 inches. So we're one step closer to fertilizer for our gardens. Now, as I mentioned in the last compost video, one of the secrets to success in maintaining a hot compost pile is monitoring the temperature. Let's get the cover off here, see what the temperature is today. It's been about 130 to 140 degrees over the past 10 days, which is the perfect temperature to keep those tiny microorganisms happy that are in here breaking down the compost. So we're going to check it with our compost thermometer. Right now the thermometer says it's right around 60 degrees because that's what it is outside today. So let's pop it here in the middle and we'll see what this pile is right now. Definitely moving up here. Just past 100 degrees. If it's below 130, we're going to go ahead and give the pile a turn. This aerates the pile, activates the microbes, and helps it heat up again. We've done the first step in maintaining a hot compost pile, and that is monitoring the temperature. The second step, aerating it. Now, I've had a lot of questions. How in the world do you turn compost in the large Smart Pots compost sack? Well, first thing you have going for you is the fabric here. It's aerated fabric, which provides your compost some airflow without you even lifting a finger. I'm going to show you 2 ways to aerate your pile today. The first one is just with a stick. This happens to be an old broomstick I've had laying around, and all you have to do is just poke the stick right into your pile several different times. It's not the quickest way for your compost to break down, but if it's all you can do, it's definitely better than nothing. Poke it down in there, then move it around to create some holes in your pile. And we're just going to move the stick all around the pile to create several holes, get some air in there, and kickstart the microbial activity again. See, the compost is definitely breaking down. See all that gray? It's a very good sign. So we'll just do our best to poke some holes in the pile. Get some air down in there. The second way to aerate your compost pile, it's a little bit more work, but it's worth it because it helps your compost break down faster, is to get in here and turn it with a pitchfork. So we want to bring the materials from the outside in and from the inside out and just dig right in and start turning. And the good thing is, it's a great workout too. Look at that steam. That means those microbes are at work, breaking down into black garden gold. Wow, that is looking so good. Now the middle of the pile is the hottest. It's the part that's breaking down the fastest. So we're basically just going to be turning it, gradually bringing the material from the inside out. So you might lose a little bit of compost over the side, but don't worry about that. Gardening gets messy sometimes. Smells so good. And I love knowing that I'm making good fertilizer, free fertilizer for my garden. I'm going to go ahead and fold up the sides of the compost sack just to make it a little bit easier to turn so all the compost doesn't fall out. It's definitely breaking down. The more you get down in here. Now, as I'm turning my compost pile, I'm also checking for the third key to success in a hot compost pile, and that is the moisture. So my compost is looking a little bit dry. Ideally, the moisture should be that of a wrung out sponge, and this is just a little bit dry. So I'm going to add some water and then mix it in as I turn it. If your compost pile is too dry, the microbes will die, so we definitely want to keep it at a good moisture level. If your compost pile is too wet, they don't like it either. So in that case, you can add some more browns, such as more shredded leaves, some shredded up newspaper or cardboard. Add a little more water. So you can see how I'm moving the compost that's around the outside to the inside, then just gradually turning the pile over. So it might be hard to turn the entire pile over, but just do the best you can. There's some dry spots down in there. You can see how deep I have the pitchfork. Here we go, pulling up. So I'm just turning and watering and turning and watering. So just use your best judgment until you feel like most of your compost pile has been turned over. Well, my compost pile is turned. So I'm going to come back out here and monitor the temperature in just a couple of days. Aerating the pile will kickstart the microbes back into action, help the pile heat back up to that 130, 140 degree range. Now, if your compost pile is having trouble heating up, add some more greens. Coffee grounds are a great green material to add back into your compost pile to kickstart it into action, or add some kitchen scraps. So at this point, what I'm going to do is cover my compost pile back up to keep the heat in, to keep the critters out. And we'll also keep repeating the steps of maintaining a successful hot compost pile, monitoring the temperature, monitoring the moisture, so it's about like a wrung out sponge, and then turning it once the temperature drops below 120, 110 degrees. So we're going to continue doing this over the next 3 weeks, and we'll come back and show you once our compost is broken down and show you how we use it on our garden. Let us know in the comments below if you've started composting in your garden and how it's going. And head over to my seed shop at CallieKimGardenandHome.com and make sure you grab your spring garden seeds. We're going to be starting the spring garden series very soon. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.